Ey, hablar mal de mí es mala suerte. Yo no rezo, pero mami lo hace por mí pa' que Dios no me suelte. Mucha lana, muchas damas, mucho hater, porque estamos arriba, estamos arriba, estamos arriba. Ey, ey, la envidia no nos derriba, loco, porque estamos arriba, estamos arriba, estamos arriba. Ey, ey, mano arriba, mano arriba.
Welcome to Flip Flop.
What's good, friends and family? Mr. Flip Flop. Been a little while. Real busy Halloween weekend. I'm still recovering from the weekend. If you weren't here, sorry. I will not be posting footage on YouTube from these parties, and we'll get into the story. So you'll see why I kind of watch a lot of things that I say and I do, protect myself, you know. So, since we're on the topic of Halloween, today is Halloween. Shout out to the Nationals. I know it's a Wizards hat, but it's DC, winning the World Series last night. Shout out to my mom's. Her birthday is Halloween. So, since we're in the spirit of Halloween, another horror story from Dominican Republic. Now, this is my personal story. It's a two-part story. If I can squeeze the second part in the video without it being too long, I will. If not, I will make a part two for you guys, because I know you guys don't like watching more than 7 minutes of a video. So anyway, like I said, for all you guys that participated in this weekend, we had a great time. Crazy. I'm going to try to duplicate it in the near future. Birthday's coming up, so I'm focused on that right now. So let's get into the story. So as I've told you guys many a times, I know some of you probably don't listen, but in Sosua, in parts of Dominican Republic, I was the party guy. Threw a lot of parties, threw a lot of events for tourists and also for locals. A couple of shows and stuff like that for with Dominican artists. Now, there was a period of time where I was at a hotel and we did events there and parties. There was this one particular event, maybe about 6 years ago, I believe it was, and this was not my event. I was just asked by the people of the event to help out and give my 2 cents, since I was boots on the ground and they didn't know how to move as much as I did in the town. So I said, cool, I'll help out, whatever. Big event. Uncle Luke was there, a bunch of ball players, a bunch of models. Really big event. It took over the town at one point. It was pretty crazy. So 3 weeks after this event, I'm sitting on the beach with a friend of mine from Vegas. And a cop walks up and says, hey, my boss wants to talk to you. You mind coming with me real quick? I said, no problem. I'm not thinking nothing. I haven't done anything, so I'm not thinking nothing. Now, pause the video. Never go with a police officer, anybody, unless they have a warrant for your arrest. If they do not, if you didn't commit a crime right then and there, and they do not have a warrant for your arrest, you don't have to go with them, period. That was my first mistake. So I go to the precinct. I walk in the office. You know, maybe they have to ask me about something, I don't know. Some big guy walks in there and he goes, hey, we got trouble, my friend, we got trouble. Me being me, I'm like, what trouble do we have? He goes, you're wanted by Interpol. Right then and there. I mean, I know some people think that we being Americans are real stupid, but I'm not. So I go, well, Interpol is for Europeans and Canadians. It has nothing to do with me. And I said, Interpol would not send you to come get me. So he gets pissed at that because I'm talking back to him. So he says my name a bunch of times. Now, a lot of people don't really know my name. So he says my name. And I go, what's my real name? No, now I'm getting aggravated because now I feel like this is some type of setup and I'm not going for it. I go, show me the piece of paper with my name on it or I'm leaving. So he doesn't have a piece of paper with my name on it. Whoever he was a very important person because the 2 other cops who knew me tried to get in and talk to him and he kicked them out. So he was somebody important, I will say that. So anyway, as I try to leave, cop pulls the gun out. He goes, you can't leave, sit down. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little crazy now. Now it's going to another level. I need to see what's going on here. Always calm. I never fold under pressure. That's how I am. So a couple people that heard what happened come over to the precinct. One, his father was a big general back in the day, so he comes in and tries to talk, blah, blah, blah. Dude's not giving no info. He's trying to be, you know, he's being a dick, basically. He said, let me come over there, see what happened. None of this stuff sounds right. They sound like they want to take you to Santo Domingo, but for what? They don't have nothing on you. A couple people come, do some talking. So then someone pulls me to the side, and I go, listen. I go, look, what do you want? What's going on here? He goes, your name is so-and-so. Your name is Greg. I said, okay, what's my last name? You don't know my name. So basically what you're doing is you're either kidnapping me or you're trying to extort me. He goes, let me tell you something right here. I don't know your name, but I'll lock you up until I find out your name. And at that point, me being the chess player I am, he's right. You know, why not lock me up and force me to present my passport and then find my real name and trump up some charges on me? If it was that serious, why not? So still don't know what's going on. A couple people come do some talking on my behalf, say, listen, we're going to negotiate this, negotiate that. I said, well, as long as, you know, it's not nothing crazy, because I still don't know what this is about. But they're like, listen, they're ready to take you to Santo Domingo. I said, but they have no paperwork. Everybody's like, yes, but what can you do with 3 guys with guns who all the other police are afraid of? So now I realize this is kind of bigger than the realm of what I imagined would ever happen to me. And I still can't figure out what's going on, and everybody else around me can't figure out what's going on. So someone goes, well, you know what? Let's just get you up out of here, and we'll figure that stuff out later. They do some negotiating, blah, blah, blah. Some money changes hands. I leave. Was told, hey, just lay low, do your thing. Very upset about this situation. Very, very angry about it, because I'm like, I still don't know what happened. Well, later on, the word gets out that this happened, and it was over a party. It wasn't over a party. So people stopped doing parties in Sosua for a while. Like, it was bad. And I actually got banned from certain hotels. They wouldn't allow me to do parties. Certain hotels and villas, the owners were like, if he's there, no, because his parties are too big and we don't want no trouble. So that was a little word for the time, which is BS. I still do the events because I do private events now, so it is what it is. So long story short, I left Sosua. I moved to Puerto Plata. I was just tired of the nonsense. I probably left about a month later. Tired of the nonsense. I actually came back 6 months later back to Sosua. Then I left Sosua again to start a business in Puerto Plata. This is where part 2 comes in. Now later, I did find out that a rich businessman paid to get me set up. Yes. As I told you guys, in Dominican Republic, in Sosua, in many places in Dominican Republic, there are social rejects. There are people who will try to do damage to you and your reputation, whatever the case may be. And there are a lot of scammers. So allegedly, this person has something against me and paid some people to come take me to wherever. Now, at the moment that did happen afterwards, whatever they call like the FBI of the DR came looking for me. Had my girlfriend at the time talking to her. She was a waitress at a bar. And I had them on video that's saying, we don't want no problems with him. We just want to know who those guys are. We want to know who the guys is who extorted you, because allegedly the story got all over the place. Well, I went and I said, you know what? How about no? Because whoever this guy was, who I ended up seeing him on TV later, he was so big that he kicked all the police out of the precinct. Now, where I'm from, when someone's that big, that person can do things to you that normal people can't do. So for me, I just said, it's over. I'm done with it. I moved on. Whoever the businessman is that didn't like me, well, he's got to deal with that. I'm still here, still doing what I do. Now, that situation took me to this next situation. And it showed me that I was not who I thought I was. I didn't have the pull I thought I did. The people I thought had my back did not. So, now we're in Puerto Plata. I have a nice business out there, a bar. It actually was a very successful bar at that. So, I did a 1-year deal because I said, it was overpriced, but I said, I wanted it so bad. He knew I was American. I wanted it so bad. I said, let me do a 1-year deal, see what I do with it, and then we'll make a new deal. I gambled on myself, basically. The bar was amazing. All the other businesses out there, they would compete with me, little old me. I had a little old bar, but it was doing good. It was successful. All the Dominicans were coming like, wow, you got this spot jumping, blah, blah, blah. So the owner was kind of jealous, I guess. He owned the building. He was kind of jealous that I had it going crazy. And I guess he felt him and his son could take it over. I told him, hey, when I walk away, it's over. When my name comes off that door, it's over. I've proven that many times over. So, long story short, the deal's about to come up, and I said, listen, I want to make a new deal, lower the money. I'm going to give you X amount of dollars in cash, more cash than you've ever had at one time, and I'm going to renovate the building myself. Excuse me. Now, this guy was such a scumbag that there were moments where he was stealing from his own business, or he had a building next door as well. He was stealing lights from me to connect to his apartments and trying to get me to pay it. I found this out later. Excuse me. So he was always trying to do sneaky stuff to get money out of me. And I kind of paid it no mind. I was just like, I'm trying to be one step ahead of everybody. So at this time, I have 2 lawyers. One is nearby the bar at the time. So I closed the business because he goes behind my back and talks to my employees, and my employees say, yeah, we know how to do it. We'll get it going. One thing, I got to do a video about this employees. One thing you got to tell you about employees is they will turn on you. But the good part about that, when they turn on you, they'll turn on each other. So as they're scheming to take the bar from me and run the bar without me, one of them comes to me and tells me the whole master plan. I made them all famous. We walk into the clubs and other discos and in the casino, and they'd shout us out. Yo, shout out. My bouncer became famous. My DJ became famous. My waitresses became famous. Sort of like Flip Flop. How all you guys know 2 of my waitresses from the Welcome to Flip Flop video. So they got big-headed and felt that, well, we can make the business go without him because we're famous now. Well, I had to prove to them, well, without me, you were nobody. Closed the business up, paid them all off, started building a bar on the other side of Puerto Plata for a friend of mine. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Finished my business with this dude. Now, mind you, this dude who owned the building that I had the bar in, he's a politician. Scumbag of a person, but a politician. I'm on the other side. My business is done with him. I told him, if you're not going to give me my deal, my new deal, I'll give you this money through the renovations, then I'm just going to be out. He keeps stalling, trying to get more rent money out of me and more money out of me, rather than just starting the new deal and taking this money in cash. He's trying to get the best of both worlds. So I'm on the other side of Puerto Plata building a new bar from scratch, top to bottom, bar, TVs, all that, all from scratch, furniture, everything, right? So we're now open. I'm running and getting it ready for my boy. I'm sitting outside having a drink with a friend of mine. Cops roll up like SWAT. I mean, it was nuts. I put my hands up. I said, whoa, y'all ain't got to do all that. Because let's go. I'm not worried. Like I said, I'm real calm under pressure. I don't fold and stuff like that. And I don't get nervous. They put me in the car, pull all the guns away with me in the car. Start driving me. One of the cops I recognize from the first situation I just told you about. He was one of the cops that brought me to the precinct and stood at the door and wouldn't let me out. So I look at him and I go, well, what is this? They showed me the paper with my name on it, but I couldn't see who else's name was on it. So I go, what is this about? I said, I'm going to explain something to you before we go any further. You know this won't happen again, right? I said, you know what happened last time will not happen again. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, take a good look at me. So then a female cop is in there. She speaks a little English. She goes, yo, you should be quiet. But then she's asking him, what is he talking about? You extorted him. What is he talking about? And I said, you know it won't happen again. So now as we're driving, they run out of gas, and the dude yells out somebody's name. Conyo, blah, blah, blah. Says his name. I won't use names in here for those purposes. But it says his name. And I go, oh, that's why I'm here? I go, listen, fellas. I'll give you all 1,000 pesos right now. You let me out the car. You go about your business. My lawyer will be at the court tomorrow. They said, no, you're coming. Now, the car runs out of gas. This is how BS this word was. Motley Crue, I guess this was. They got to take a taxi to take me to jail. I get to the jail. Once again, it's a show. I see the captain. I said, hey, Cap, let's talk. I said, listen, I'll give you 2,000 pesos. Let me out. My lawyer handled this tomorrow. No hard feelings. It's cool. I got things to do. He goes, nah, I don't know. Then as he says that, the female cop says, listen, and I heard him talking. She goes, he's really, really arrogant, and he's not scared. So, he knows something. That he must know who got him over here, whatever. So I'm just ear hustling, listening, and she's telling him, like, why is he so arrogant? Like, he's in handcuffs, and he just doesn't care. Well, they come back out, and he goes, hey, let's talk. As he tries to get me to stand up, my lawyer grabs me and says, nope, don't talk to my client. You'll be out of here in a couple minutes. Well, I offered the money. Nothing ever happened. So now, court is over, so there's no judge. My lawyer calls a judge friend of his to come in, because what they did allegedly is illegal, arresting a tourist after hours, saying that I got served with paperwork and never showed up to court, which I never got served with paperwork. It was a trick to scare me. So after 5, the judges leave. There's no judge. They wanted me to sit in jail till the next morning, which I was told was against the law. He calls the judge in. We're going over 15 minutes. Hopefully you guys are still with me. He calls the judge in. Judge comes in. We're in this little office. So they pull us all in. And like I said, they're putting on a show. I got about 20, 30 people outside the precinct. They're transporting me like the perp walk or whatever you want to do. It was weird, but it was funny to me. Because it was like they really wanted to get the gringo. You know, it was such a big deal for them. So I go in the room and there's a list of things, the complaints against me. He's reading the complaints and the guy's reading it out in English and in Spanish. I was like this big time gangster, had all these killers in Puerto Plata. I threatened to murder him and his family. All these things. So as the guy's reading it, he looks up and goes, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell that guy is. Lock that guy up, you know? But he's talking about me. So I'm just like, wow, I did all of that. So the judge goes, okay, tell your side of the story. He asked the politician the side of the story. He went on and on and on. This is when you know people are lying, when they just tell you about, they talk about 17 different things and never the one point that makes sense. So then he goes, well, none of this makes sense because you have no paperwork with this man, no business with this man, no light bill with this man. Like, what is going on here? Then he asked me. I said, well, listen, we had a business deal. It didn't work out right. He wanted to get more money out of me. I said no. So I walked away. My business with him is done. No contracts are there. No more. I have nothing else to do with this man, but he wants to get money out of me. Judge goes, listen, this whole thing is BS. It looks like BS. You said he threatened you 3 months ago and you're bringing him here today. What does that have to do with today? So the judge saw through the BS. Judge said, okay, leave this man alone. Case is closed. The politician goes, hell no, it's not closed. So the judge looks at him and goes, well, wait a minute. Tells me in English, if he bothers you again, you'd have your lawyer call my phone and I will personally put him in jail. Now, I walk out. My lawyer goes, go back to that other bar so everybody who saw that big show they put on sees you walk back up and get a drink. Sit outside and drink so everybody sees. Boom, I go out there, get a drink. Everybody's like, oh, wow, we thought you was a narco, you know? So, 2 instances. One where I did have to pay some money to get out because, you know, I didn't know what was going on. And I was set up, whatever the case may be. And I didn't have a lawyer, a good lawyer, that I didn't have people that had my back. Then the second situation, I had a lawyer. I knew people. I had people that had my back. I walked out. They couldn't get the gringo this time. Anybody who talks to me, I tell you all the time, I don't care what business it is, what you're doing, lawyer. I won't do anything without a lawyer. Reason being, it protects me, it protects you. That was my horror story. Like I said, it was part 1 to see what I went through and how, you know, I did have to pay to get out of it, even though I didn't know what was going on and there was no real charges or anything against me. It's just that they could have basically kind of kidnapped me somewhere, who knows where, and no one would have ever known. I'd have been alone. But the guys were like, listen, let's pay to get out of the situation, get you out of here. So we did that. Then the next one, situation where I was pretty much prepared, ready for anything, and when they tried me, it backfired on them. So I always tell people, be aware, and I don't tell you guys these stories to scare you. I just tell you facts, because where a lot of people give you third-party, fourth-party stories, I'm bringing you first-party information. I'm bringing information from situations I was there. I went through it. People talk about parties. I actually went to jail for throwing a party that pretty much I didn't even throw. You know, sometimes you fall on a sword, and I don't mind it. I'm one of them guys where I'm not gonna fold. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna take no ish. So for me, once that situation happened the first go round, I was prepared for the next go round if it ever happened again. Now I lay low. I don't do too much nowadays, but I'm always weary and leery because we are a walking dollar sign to some people. And when they see you doing good or see you in a situation, you know, people want to know what's up. And you may have people that feel you slighted them, so they're going to try to slight you. Or feel they try to run a game on you, which was, you know, dude tried to run a game on me. I wasn't going for it. And he got cut off. Okay, you don't do business with me, we won't do any business. He even tried to go back and take my deal after all of that. He was like, you know what, let's sit down and talk. I'll take the deal. I said, no, you crazy? I'll never do business with you again. Now, years later, the business has closed 5 times because no one can get it going like I had it. I'm actually considering opening it. I'm thinking about it. But he would have to take a basic deal that would cut him short of everything, which I'm sure pride won't allow him to. But, it's bad business dealings with certain people. Bad situations where, you got to watch who's watching you. Okay? So, love all you guys. That was my horror story for Dominican Republic, part 1 and 2 as far as combined in my situation. For footage of the weekend. Only on my Patreon, people. Only on my Patreon. The link's below. I will not put any footage on YouTube. I'm not one of these guys running around the strip. I'm not one of these guys talking about prostitutes, stuff like that. I don't do that. And as you see why I can't do that. So I keep my stuff PG. If you want to see the other version of stuff, you got to go to the Patreon. I'm sorry, I can't do it any other way. All right, love all you guys. This was 20 minutes long, a little long-winded, but I told you, this is the real stuff, uncut, raw. Mr. Flip Flop, I'm out.